I'm standing near the wine station, angling a bottle of Burgundy beneath the soft ambient lighting, studying the label with the trained precision of someone who's built an empire on knowing exactly what belongs in a glass and what deserves to be discarded. The vault, this restored bank vault transformed into a VIP dining room inside my ARM restaurant, hums quietly, steeped in the kind of wealth that murmurs instead of announcing itself. Steel doors that once safeguarded millions now protect something far more volatile tonight. Secrets capable of ruining lives. The bottle cradled in my hand is a 2015 Domaine de la Romane Conti. $15,000 of liquid legacy. I've already cleared it for service this evening, yet I check the temperature once more. Details matter when you're coordinating the collapse of international criminals while your own family raises glasses to their undoing. Excuse me, honey? The voice oozes artificial warmth, the type that masks disdain and sugar. I don't need to turn around to identify her. Seraphina Sterling's voice has a distinct timbre like wind chimes forged from sterling silver, fittingly enough. All shine, no substance. I set the bottle aside and face her. She's draped head to toe in Chanel, or at least what she wants others to believe is Chanel. The tweed jacket fits well enough, but I've studied luxury long enough to notice the slight inconsistency in the chain stitching. Then there's the handbag. That's the giveaway. A Birkin in what she'd proudly call gold Togo leather. It's an impressive counterfeit. Very impressive. The sort that costs $3,000 instead of $30,000. Her gaze sweeps over me, pausing on my simple black outfit with the scrutiny of a jeweler inspecting questionable gems. Something flashes across her face recognition, perhaps, of the flawless cut and drape only the robe can achieve. But instead of acknowledgement, her lips curve into something that could almost resemble pity if you weren't paying attention. "You poor thing," she says. Then her hand lifts, extending a crisp $20 bill as though she's feeding a parking meter. "Here, buy yourself something nice to eat, honey." It must be hard, standing here watching rich people dine. The paper rustles between her manicured fingers. French tips, professionally done, likely the only genuine luxury she's wearing tonight. She thinks I'm staff. A waitress, perhaps. Or maybe a desperate pal cousin loitering in hopes of scavenging leftovers from the engagement party. She has no idea that I Valerie Powell funded every single detail of this evening. The $40 per pound Ossetra caviar. The Japanese A5 Wagyu costing more per ounce than gold. The Phalaenopsis orchid centerpieces flown overnight from a boutique grower in California. Every fork, every crystal stem, every stitch in the custom Italian linens. And she certainly doesn't know that I'm holding the key to sending her directly to federal prison. I should correct her. I should introduce myself properly. But something halts me at glacial calculation 3 months in the making. There's power in being underestimated. But there's freedom in remaining unseen. I take the 20. My fingers curl around it, registering the worn edges and familiar texture. It probably came from her wallet, lifted from a stack of bills taken from her most recent victim. Money that should belong to a retired couple in Tampa who thought they were securing their grandchildren's future. "Thank you, Seraphina," I say softly, gratitude carefully measured. The sacrificial lamb accepting scraps from the wolf's table. "That's very kind of you." Her smile broadens, pleased. She's completed her charitable gesture for the night. "Of course, darling. We all need a little help sometimes, don't we?" She pats my arm. Actually pats it like I'm a well-trained golden retriever. "Do try the canapes before they clear them. The smoked salmon is divine. The smoked salmon I personally selected. Approved after 3 tastings. $60 per pound. I will, I assure her. "Thank you so much." She glides back to the table where my family sits, her counterfeit Birkin swinging at her side. The vault's lighting, calibrated to evoke old money and older sins, catches the bag's gold hardware, and I catalog it mentally. Evidence. All of this is evidence. The table itself is desperation disguised as festivity. My parents, Thaddeus and Blythe Powell, preside at the head, their forced smiles stretched tight. My mother wears the Mikimoto pearls my father bought her 20 years ago, when Powell Industries still commanded respect. My father's Brioni suit is 3 seasons old, reserved for special occasions and meticulously maintained because replacing it isn't an option. They're gazing at the Sterling family, Montgomery, Cordelia, and Serafina, the way drowning people look at life preservers. Because that's exactly what this engagement represents. Salvation. A return ticket into circles they've been quietly slipping from ever since the business began its inevitable decline. They see aristocracy, old money, European refinement. I see a file 3 inches thick, Interpol red notices, financial crimes spanning 4 continents, $50 million siphoned through virtual real estate, Ponzi scheme so complex it took the FBI's Financial Crimes Division 9 months just to trace the money. But tonight, my parents clutch their illusion with both hands. My brother Preston sits beside Serafina, his hand possessively resting on her knee, wearing the satisfied grin of a man who believes he's won the lottery. In a way, he's convinced a woman far smarter and far more dangerous than he is to pretend she loves him. Preston, who couldn't close a deal if the client held the pen. Preston, who's coasted on the Powell name his entire life while contributing nothing to its legacy. Everything meant for me, they've taken. My parents' approval, my family's respect, my inheritance, sold off piece by piece to preserve appearances. But tonight, I reclaim something. I fold the $20 bill and slip it into my pocket. I'll frame it later. A souvenir of the moment Serafina Sterling handed me $20 and believed she was being magnanimous. I smooth my black blazer of the row, latest collection, $5,000 of Italian cashmere, so refined it feels like wearing shadow, and head toward the table. Time to perform. To understand why I'm about to endure an evening of deliberate humiliation, we have to rewind 3 months to the moment the fuse was lit. It was Sunday dinner when Preston came home buzzing with excitement and announced his engagement. Her name is Serafina Sterling, he'd said, flashing a photo on his phone. A beautiful woman with honey blonde hair and the confident smile of someone keenly aware of her effect. Her family as well, basically aristocracy. Old money, European. Her father, Montgomery, he's brilliant. He's working on this incredible investment opportunity. Virtual real estate in emerging markets. Revolutionary. My mother had gasped, fingers flying to her pearls. Sterling? Montgomery Sterling? I've heard of him. Wasn't there an article in Forbes, Preston cut in, profiled last year? They called him the future of digital investment. I said nothing. I just watched my brother's eyes, the gleam there, the way his hand kept drifting toward his pocket, as though he were already counting money that didn't exist. I learned long ago that when something sounds too good to be true, it's because someone intelligent is working overtime to sell the lie. So I hired a private investigator, Marcus Webb, former Secret Service, now runs his own firm, specializing in financial background checks. I gave him 2 weeks and a blank check. He returned in 10 days. The file he delivered wasn't about petty fraud or minor cons. It detailed a criminal enterprise of breathtaking sophistication, spanning 4 continents and more than 300 victims. The Sterling family, Montgomery, Cordelia, and Serafina were the architects of a virtual real estate Ponzi scheme, promising investors lucrative returns on digital properties in metaverse developments across Dubai, Singapore, and Sao Paulo. The properties never existed. The developments were fabrications. Returns were paid using new investors' capital, a classic Ponzi structure executed with such technical precision that by the time victims realized the truth, the money had already been laundered through 13 offshore accounts and converted into assets across 7 countries. Total losses, $50 million. The Sterlings operated under Interpol red notices in multiple jurisdictions, evading capture by constantly relocating, never lingering long enough for extradition to catch up. They'd perfected their system over 8 years, leaving behind a wake of emptied retirement accounts.
Foreclosed homes and broken lives. And now they were here, entwined with my brother, seated in my city at my family's table. I took the file straight to the FBI. The Chicago field office connected me with Agent Vance from the Financial Crimes Division. Mid-40s, dark hair threaded with gray, the kind of exhausted eyes earned by years of watching intelligent people do unforgivable things for money. He spread the file across his desk, studying photographs of the Sterlings at charity galas. Impeccably dressed, endlessly charming, perpetually in motion. "We've been tracking them for 18 months, he said. "The problem is jurisdiction. Most of the money laundering was happening in a country without a clean extradition treaty with the U.S. We can't just grab them. We need a predicate act on American soil, something we can catch in real time in our jurisdiction that gives us immediate authority." "What kind of act?" I asked. "A financial crime. Wire fraud, specifically. We need them to accept money from a U.S. citizen for a fraudulent investment, with the transaction occurring here. Once they take the funds, we have our hook. Then we move forward with a larger RICO case." Then he really looked at me. "Your brother mentioned the Sterling's plan to pitch him an investment opportunity at the engagement party. Is that still happening?" "Yes. They want $250,000. "For what?" "Something about a virtual kitchen development in Dubai." "Virtual kitchen?" Agent Vance repeated, almost smiling. "New scam. Same skeleton." Then his tone shifted. "Miss Powell, what I'm about to ask is entirely voluntary. You can say no, and we'll find another way. But if you're willing, we need an investor. Someone who can wear a wire. Someone who can make the transaction and give us grounds to arrest." "You want me to be bait?" "We want you to be an asset," he corrected. "You won't be armed. You won't make arrests. You'll simply facilitate the exchange. The moment money changes hands, we move in." I thought about it for exactly 5 seconds. What do you need me to do? The memory dissolves as the cold reality of the vault presses back in. I walk toward the table, carrying that decision like an extra layer of skin. The room is kept at a precise 68 degrees, but I feel chilled. The kind of cold that comes from knowing you're about to detonate something that will destroy your family, along with its intended targets. I slide into my seat at the far end of the table, the place they assigned me, not beside my parents, not next to my brother, at the edge, where conversation flows around me without demanding my presence. "Oh, Valerie," Serafina says, noticing me for the second time tonight. Her eyes sweep over me again, lingering on my clothes. I see the calculation clicking into place behind her smile. She recognizes quality. The only question is how she'll use it. She chooses cruelty. "I see that top," she says, her voice pitched just loudly enough for everyone to hear. "It looks just like something from the Rose new collection, doesn't it? The dupes are getting so sophisticated these days. So sturdy, too. Perfect for your budget and your very practical line of work." My mother's fork freezes halfway to her mouth. My father's face tightens with embarrassment masquerading as helplessness. Preston doesn't even glance up from his phone. Counterfeit, dupe, budget, practical. Each word is surgical, meant to establish hierarchy while maintaining plausible deniability. She's not insulting me. She's praising how gracefully I manage my limitations. It's expert gaslighting. Yes, I say evenly. It is very durable. Serafina's smile widens. Objective achieved. I've been labeled poor, manageable, beneath concern. Across the table, Montgomery Sterling lifts his wine glass. Shall we toast a happy couple? His accent carries a faint trace of what he wants people to believe is British aristocracy. Webb's report identified it as pure fabrication. Montgomery Sterling grew up in Newark, New Jersey. Born Montgomery Sternberg, to Preston and Serafina. My mother says, her voice trembling with hope, "May your future be as bright as your love." I raise my water glass. The irony is exquisite. Their future will indeed be bright, with fluorescent lighting and steel bars. Preston finally looks up, and for a brief second our eyes lock. Something flickers there. Guilt, perhaps, or calculation. Does he suspect the truth and choose blindness because admitting it would mean admitting he's been fooled? Or worse, does he know and simply not care, convinced he'll get his share before everything collapses? I watch him kiss Serafina's cheek, watch her hand settle possessively on his shoulder. My parents are too busy fawning over Montgomery and Cordelia to notice their own daughter relegated to the corner. They ask about the Sterling estate in the Cotswolds. It doesn't exist. About their charitable foundation, defunct. About their connections to minor European nobility, entirely fabricated. And the Sterlings, consummate professionals, answer with effortless ease. They rehearsed this hundreds of times. They know precisely how much detail to offer, when to be modest, how to appear both impressive and approachable. This is what $50 million in fraud looks like, not ski masks or guns, not crude threats or sloppy lies, just beautiful people in beautiful clothes telling beautiful stories, making everyone feel like they're inches from something extraordinary. I'm the only one who knows the extraordinary thing waiting for them isn't wealth, it's handcuffs. I sip my water and settle in. Agent Vance is somewhere in a restaurant, disguised as a sommelier, waiting for his signal. The wire taped against my ribs burns slightly, recording every syllable. The $20 bill Serafina gave me crackles in my pocket. I smile at my family, at the Sterlings, at the entire elaborate illusion. Tonight, there will be no mercy. The chandelier catches something on Serafina's wrist as she reaches for her glass. My breath catches. My grandmother's Cartier watch. Art Deco face. Tiny diamond at 12 o'clock. The one she wore every day until her hands were too weak to fasten it. The one she pressed into my palm a week before she died, whispering, "For you, darling, for when you need to remember who you are." The one locked in my bedroom safe. The one Preston has a spare key to. Serafina notices my stare. She extends her wrist with practiced elegance, letting the platinum catch the light. Beautiful, isn't it? Preston gave it to me last month. He said it was a family heirloom, but that I deserved to wear it more than... She stops herself, conjures a delicate wince. "I'm sorry, Valerie. I shouldn't have said that." I look at Preston. He won't meet my eyes. He studies his bread plate, like it contains the universe's secrets. "It's beautiful," I say, my voice steady as stone. Grandmother would have loved seeing it worn. The lie tastes like metal. Grandmother would have thrown her wine in his face. But this isn't the moment. That watch, with its serial number documented in her estate, will serve another purpose. Evidence. Exhibit C when the lawyers circle and Preston begs to be seen as a victim. Let Serafina wear it. Let her post it online. Timestamp it. Geolocate it. Every photograph is another nail. Montgomery clears his throat. "I must say, Valerie, your choice of restaurant is exceptional. Though I'm surprised an establishment of this caliber would employ someone without proper training in..." He gestures vaguely at my server's uniform. The finer points of service. "Everyone starts somewhere," I reply, refilling his water with practiced precision. Tilt 45 degrees. No splash. No sound. Cordelia laughs. Wind chimes made of razor blades. How philosophical. Though I do hope you're saving your wages, dear. The service industry can be so unpredictable. My mother shifts uncomfortably, sensing the cruelty but too afraid to challenge it. Not when the Sterlings are Preston's promised salvation. "Actually," I say, "I was hoping to show you all something special tonight." I catch Agent Vance's eye across the room. He nods, barely, and disappears through the service door. Preston straightens. "Valerie, you don't have to." "I want to." I smile at him, almost genuine. Families should celebrate together, right? Serafina exchanges a look with her father. Predatory interest flickers there. They think I'm about to humiliate myself. They're waiting for it. Agent Vance returns carrying a crystal decanter on a silver tray. The wine inside gleams garnet dark. Dried blood. Expensive mistakes. He sets it down reverently. No label. No clues. I was gifted this bottle, I say, carefully, watching their faces. By a client. I don't actually know its value, but I thought tonight would be the perfect occasion to open it. Montgomery's eyes brighten. This is his stage. The authority. The connoisseur who can appraise quality with a single glance. Agent Vance pours with smooth professionalism. First a tasting for Montgomery, then full glasses for Cordelia and Serafina. He offers one to Preston, who accepts it with visibly shaking hands. The sommelier's expression remains perfectly neutral, but when his gaze flicks to mine, I catch it. Mockery. Anticipation. We both know exactly what's about to happen. Montgomery swirls his glass with exaggerated confidence, lifts it toward the light, inhales deeply. His face twists. Well, he says, setting the glass down with barely concealed disdain. I appreciate the gesture, Valerie, but this is, how shall I put it delicately? He doesn't wait for an answer. This wine is far too acidic. The tannins are practically absent. If I had to guess, I'd call this table wine. Supermarket quality. $8, perhaps? 10 a bottle? Cordelia takes a sip and nods solemnly. I'm afraid Montgomery's right, dear. There's no complexity. No depth. Serafina swirls her glass the way she's seen people do in films. It's very... She pauses, searching her mental Rolodex. Bold. Oaky. Almost aggressively so. I bite the inside of my cheek to keep from laughing. The wine in their glasses is Domaine de la Romanicani. Premier Cru. The kind of Pinot Noir collectors bid on at auction. The kind that costs more than most people's cars. $15,000 a bottle. And they've called it Oaky. Pinot Noir. The most delicate varietal in the world, renowned for its silken restraint, for its near-total absence of oak when handled correctly. Agent Vance catches my eye. His expression never shifts, but I see it, the flicker of satisfaction, the confirmation we both needed. These people are frauds, not just criminals hiding behind tailored suits and curated accents, not merely con artists running an elaborate scheme. They're hollow, empty vessels dressed in the costume of wealth, reciting lines they've memorized but never understood. They can fake vocabulary. They can fake confidence. They can fake condescension. But they cannot fake taste. Preston takes a tentative sip and says nothing. I wonder if he knows. If some part of him recognizes that he's drowning, that the hands offering rescue are actually fastening an anchor. Thank you for your honesty, I say softly, taking the decanter from Agent Vance. I'll be sure to tell my client you found it lacking. Montgomery waves a dismissive hand. Think nothing of it, dear girl. You're learning. That's what matters. The chandelier catches grandmother's watch again. I smile. They have no idea what's coming. Cordelia dabs her lips with her napkin. The movement so practiced it might as well be choreographed. Well, she announces, I believe now is the perfect time to discuss why we're really here tonight. Montgomery reaches into his briefcase, Italian leather, probably authentic, and removes a glossy presentation folder. The cover displays a skyline I recognize immediately. Dubai, glass, gold, impossible angles. The Dubai Virtual Kitchen Collective, Cordelia begins, her voice sliding effortlessly into pitch mode. We're in the final stages of securing our founding investors. This is a revolutionary concept. Ghost kitchen serving multiple delivery-only brands from a single location. The Middle Eastern market is exploding, and we're perfectly positioned to capture it. She slides a folder toward Preston. He opens it with unsteady hands, flipping through charts and projections that appear impressive. If you don't know how to read financial statements. The returns are extraordinary, Montgomery adds, leaning in. We're projecting a 300% ROI within 18 months. Our Dubai partners have secured permits, locations, infrastructure. All that's missing is launch capital. Preston swallows. How much capital? Montgomery's smile could sell ice in a blizzard. One founding position remains. $250,000. He places a hand on Preston's shoulder, paternal and possessive. I know it's significant, but Preston, you're exactly the kind of visionary we need. Someone who recognizes opportunity when it appears. The silence stretches. I hear my father's breathing, quick, shallow. My mother taps her fingers against her wine glass. 1, 2, 3, a nervous metronome. Preston opens his mouth, closes it, tries again. I don't have that kind of liquid capital right now. The market's been volatile. My portfolio is diversified, I'm sure. Montgomery cuts in smoothly. Opportunities like this don't wait for perfect timing. They reward decisiveness. He reaches into his briefcase again and produces something that makes my stomach tighten with anticipation. A point-of-sale terminal. Credit card reader attached. The kind used at farmers markets. Food trucks. He sets it between wine glasses and bread plates like it belongs there. Like processing a $250,000 transaction over dinner is perfectly normal. We can handle it right now, he says casually. Serafina and I leave for Dubai on Friday. If you want your name on the founding charter, we need commitment tonight. Preston's face drains a color. He looks at our father, who returns a stare with an expression I know too well. Desperation wrapped in expectation. Don't fail. Don't embarrass us. Don't prove we bet on the wrong child. My mother grips Preston's arm. Sweetheart, this is your future. I can't, Preston says, his voice cracking. I can't just... Serafina covers his hand with hers. The Cartier watch flashes. Baby, I know it's scary, but you have to trust us. Trust me. This is how my family built everything we have. You take the risk. You reap the reward. I watch my brother unravel. Watch him search the table for rescue. For someone to tell him it's okay to walk away. No one does. So I intervene. Let me help, I say quietly. 6 pairs of eyes swing toward me. Serafina's narrow instantly. You. I have savings. I reach into my pocket. Fingers closing around a simple blue card. I placed there 3 months ago. I've been working for 10 years. I was saving for a condo down payment, but I let my voice waver just slightly. Just enough. Family comes first. Right, Preston? His eyes fill with tears. Valerie, no. I can't let you. You're not letting me do anything. I pull out the card. Plain blue plastic. Local bank logo. Nothing impressive. I trust you, I say gently. I know you'll pay me back once the investment comes through. It's perfect bait. The ultimate con. A naive sister sacrificing her life savings. A foolish girl who doesn't understand money, handing over everything because family pressure told her to. Montgomery's eyes glitter. I see the calculations firing behind them. This is better than expected. Not 1 desperate victim, but 2. The predator wakes, savoring the wounded prey stepping willingly into its jaws. He reaches across the table. Valerie, that's incredibly generous. Are you absolutely sure? I'm sure. I place the card in his palm. Our fingers brush, and I feel the tremor in his hand. Excitement, greed, the thrill of the hunt. He's so focused on the card that he misses Agent Vance watching from the corner, doesn't see the sommelier's hand drift toward his pocket, where his phone waits. Montgomery slides a card into the reader with practiced ease. Keys and the amount. $250,000. The digits glow on the screen. He turns the device toward me. PIN. I lean forward, blocking the view, and enter 4 numbers. The machine hums. Loading. Loading. Declined. Montgomery frowns. Preston exhales, relief or disappointment. I can't tell. Oh no, I say, panic threading my voice as I reach for the terminal. The bank probably flagged it. Large transaction. Unusual activity. Let me call them. I can authorize it. I pull out my phone, fingers flying, typing a message that looks like a bank call, but is actually sending 3 words to a number with a 202 area code. Green light. Activate. I'm so sorry. I say, lifting my eyes to Montgomery, wide and contrite. Could you try again? They said it's been cleared. Montgomery's smile resurfaces, sharper now, hungrier. He swipes the card again. This time the machine hesitates. The loading bar crawls across the screen, like a fuse inching toward dynamite. And then, approved, the terminal chirps and spits out a receipt. Montgomery snatches it up, eyes racing over the confirmation number. The amount, the timestamp, $250,000. Transferred from a nobody's checking account into an offshore holding company that, 4 minutes ago, became actively monitored by the FBI, FinCEN, and Interpol. Montgomery stares at the receipt like it's a golden ticket. His smile is real now, the smile of a man who believes he's won. Cordelia actually claps. Welcome to the family, Preston. You're going to be so grateful you took this leap. My father finally exhales. My mother's eyes shine with tears. Preston doesn't move. He sits there, head bowed, staring at his hands, at the man who just allowed his little sister to surrender her future to save him. Agent Vance refills water glasses, movements calm, unhurried. The receipt rests on the table like confession, and then the trap snaps shut. Montgomery's fingers curl around the paper like it's a winning lottery slip. His other hand slips beneath the table, subtle, practiced. Phone already unlocked. I watch his thumb move, initiating what should be an instant wire transfer. 3 months of FBI surveillance taught me his exact choreography. Immediate layering. Satellite accounts in 3 jurisdictions. Funds dispersed before the merchant batch even closes. His smile is magnificent. Pure greed, unfiltered. Then it fractures. His thumb swipes again, harder. The confident rhythm falters. He taps the screen with increasing pressure, jaw tightening almost imperceptibly. The tension blooms from his temples outward. Is the network down here? His voice remains casual, but I hear the edge. The first hairline crack in the facade. I take a slow sip of the Domaine de la Romanicani. $15,000. It tastes like vindication, complex, layered, worth every ounce of its weight. I let the silence stretch just long enough to grow uncomfortable before setting my glass down with care. The network is fine, Montgomery. My voice is colder than the Chicago winter outside, colder than I knew I was capable of. 3 months ago, when Agent Vance first showed me surveillance photos of Preston leaving Montgomery's downtown office, I wasn't sure I could do this. The deception, the performance. But as I watched the color drain from Montgomery's face, I realize I've changed. I don't flinch anymore. It's just that your accounts have been sealed. I pause, savoring each word the way I savor the wine. That $250,000 isn't going into your pocket. It's the final piece of evidence required to trigger an international arrest warrant. The room freezes. Montgomery's eyes flick to the steel vault door, the same one I admired earlier, thinking how perfectly symbolic it was. A former bank vault, now holding Chicago's most prolific financial predator. His hand tightens around the receipt, crumpling it slightly. That scrap of thermal paper. That predicate act. That caught-in-the-act moment. The FBI has been engineering for 18 months. Valerie, my mother's voice trembles. She doesn't understand yet. None of them do, except Montgomery. I see it in his eyes at the exact instant realization hits. He's been played. The sommelier straightens near the wine credenza, except he isn't a sommelier. Agent Vance sheds a deferential posture, like a snake's sloughing skin. His shoulders square. His expression hardens. The man who spent 20 minutes discussing terroir becomes someone else entirely. Someone who has been recording every word, every gesture, every incriminating detail to the sophisticated equipment built into the wine key at his belt. FBI. The word lands with the weight of federal authority. Montgomery Sterling, you're under arrest under the RICO Act for operating a $50 million Ponzi scheme. The vault door slams inward, not literally exploding, but the impact might as well be one. 6 tactical agents in full raid gear flood the room, weapons drawn, movements precise and rehearsed. Of course they practice. You don't take down a red notice target without rehearsal. Hands on the table. Now. Montgomery complies, slowly, still calculating, still searching for angles. Cordelia gasps, clutching her throat in a gesture so theatrical it would be amusing if it weren't so pitiful. Serafina doesn't move. She sits frozen, her investment smile stripped away, replaced by something raw. Fear or rage. In the chaos, it's hard to tell. Preston jumps to his feet. What's happening? Valerie, what did you do? Sit down, sir. An agent's hand clamps onto his shoulder, forcing him back into his chair. Not gently. My parents huddle together like injured birds. Thaddeus sputters, voice breaking. There must be some mistake. We're respectable people. We don't. But his protest is swallowed by the mechanical cadence of Miranda rights. Agent Vance personally cuffs Montgomery, tightening the steel around wrists that once signed fraudulent prospectuses for more than 300 investors. I remain seated, calm, sipping wine as federal agents move around me, and I realize I am the eye of the hurricane. Serafina finally finds her voice. You lying fraud. You set us up. I turn toward her slowly. Deliberately, I let her see it. The complete absence of guilt. No, Serafina, I didn't set you up. You set yourselves up the moment you decided my family was stupid enough to be marked. I stand, smoothing down my black blazer with unhurried precision. I just made sure you got caught. I circle the table, my heels echoing against the polished floor. Serafina's Birkin rests on the empty chair beside her, that talisman of status she's clutched all night like armor. I pick it up, weighing it in my hands. Good leather. Heavy. Almost right. You know what's interesting about Hermes? I say, turning the bag beneath the ambient light. Real Birkin bags are hand-stitched, slightly imperfect, because a human artisan makes each one. 18 hours of work. I flip it over, tracing the seam. Machine stitching is perfectly uniform. Like this. I hold it up. For her. For everyone. And the hardware. Real Birkin hardware is palladium or gold-plated. It reflects light differently. Stamped gold on Togo leather. I tap the logo plate. That's a $1,500 knockoff from a very skilled counterfeiter. Serafina's face fractures. The pitying smile. The faux concern. The condescension. All gone. What remains is fury. You spiteful, vindictive. The word you're looking for is thorough. I drop the bag onto the chair with a dismissive thud. You've been playing dress-up with fake luxury, stealing from desperate families, pretending to be old money for so long you forgot what real looks like. An agent moves to restrain her. She jerks back, but there's nowhere to run. The vault that was meant to impress her, to make her feel exclusive and important, has become her cage. This is entrapment. Cordelia screams as another agent grabs her arm. You can't do this. Agent Vance doesn't even look at her. Ma'am, your husband and daughter have been under federal investigation since March of last year. Miss Powell became a cooperating witness 3 months ago. Everything that occurred tonight was legal, recorded, and witnessed. He lifts the crumpled receipt Montgomery tried to conceal, including this predicate act, which establishes Mr. Sterling's intent to launder funds obtained through wire fraud. Montgomery says nothing. He's already calculating lawyers, assets, escape routes, who he might trade for leniency. But it's futile. The Bureau has been inside his operation for over a year. They know where every dollar went. Preston starts crying. Real tears. I didn't know, he says hoarsely. Valerie, I swear, I didn't know what they were doing. You have to believe me. I meet his eyes across the chaos. My brother. Weak. Envious. Cowardly. The brother who stole our grandmother's Cartier watch and let his fiancée wear it like a trophy. Who watched me drain my life, savings into a scam, and stayed silent. Who always chose everyone else over me. I believe you didn't. To ask questions, Preston, I say, quietly. That's not the same thing as not knowing. The agents begin escorting the Sterlings out. Montgomery walks tall, already rehearsing for the jury he imagines will someday admire him. Serafina resists until an agent threatens to carry her. Cordelia sobs about her reputation, her charity board, her country club. None of it matters now. The vault empties slowly, agents and criminals filing out in a strangely choreographed retreat that feels anticlimactic after the storm. Agent Vance pauses at the doorway, meeting my eyes. "You did good work, Miss Powell. The Bureau appreciates your cooperation." I nod. We were never friends. I was a means to an end, just like he was for me. But in that moment, there's mutual recognition. We both got what we needed. Then he's gone. And I'm alone in the vault with my family. Just the Powells now. The way it began. My parents sit across from me, like wax figures melting under heat. Thaddeus' skin has gone gray, his carefully maintained tan turning sallow beneath the lights. Blythe's hands tremble as she reaches for her glass, stopping halfway as if she's forgotten how movement works. The fantasy of high society, of finally belonging to the world they've been performing for, has shattered. And they know, now, that I'm the one who broke it. Preston slumps in his chair, crying softly. Not grief, self-pity. I reach into my bag and remove a legal document. Crisp paper. Official. Letterhead from one of Chicago's most aggressive property management firms. I place it on the table with the same care I used when setting down that blue debit card an hour earlier. Different transaction. Same finality. This is a notice to quit. My voice is steady. I've rehearsed this for 3 months, yet saying it aloud still feels unreal. I bought this building last month through my holding company, the one you didn't know I had. You have 30 days to vacate. Blythe blinks. Once. Twice. The building, she whispers. Our building. You bought. She can't finish. My building, I correct gently. The brownstone on Astor Street. 22 years of occupancy. Rent controlled. Protected by legacy tenancy clauses that made eviction nearly impossible. I lean back. Nearly. Everything has a price. Even legacy protection. Thaddeus finally finds his voice. You're evicting your own parents? I'm severing a toxic dependency. The clinical phrasing helps. It makes it sound less like betrayal and more like surgery. You raised me to believe family loyalty meant sacrificing everything. My education fund for Preston's ventures. My career for your social climbing. My dignity for your approval. But loyalty isn't supposed to be one-directional. We gave you everything, Blythe says, voice breaking. A home. Opportunities. You gave me a roof and resentment. I reply, there's a difference. I slide the document closer. The eviction is legal. There will be no extensions, no negotiations, no reprieves. You have 30 days to find somewhere else to live. I pause. I suggest you start tomorrow. Valerie, Thaddeus tries. The stern father voice surfaces. But it's hollow. This is cruel. Yes. I don't avoid the word. It is. But as you both taught me, cruelty is sometimes necessary for survival. You were willing to let me bankroll your social ambitions with my life savings. Money I've been earning since I was 22. Building a company you never believed in. You were willing to let me be defrauded because confronting the truth was inconvenient. Preston looks up sharply. You knew? Even before the FBI. I suspected after the first dinner. Seraphina's stories didn't align. The timelines. The vagueness. The way Montgomery avoided specifics like landmines. I finished my wine. But you were happy, Preston. Finally marrying someone from good stock. Finally making them proud. So I hired a forensic accountant. You hired a forensic accountant. He found irregularities in 10 days. By weeks 2 and 3. We were coordinated with the FBI. I was sitting in a federal building signing cooperation agreements. I set my glass down. I've been orchestrating this takedown for 3 months, while you were all planning a wedding financed by fraud. The silence afterward is complete. Even Preston stops crying. Then the vault door opens again. Not the FBI this time. Chicago PD. 2 uniformed officers and a detective in a rumpled suit step inside. Preston Powell? The detective's tone is professionally neutral. We need you to come with us for questioning regarding your role as an accessory to wire fraud and money laundering. Preston turns white. Not pale white, like someone opened a valve and drained every drop of blood from his face. Accessory? I wasn't. He spins toward me, desperation replacing the self-pity. Valerie, you're a CEO. You have great lawyers. You can fix this. You can bail me out. I didn't know anything. Tell them. I look at him. Really look at him. My older brother. The one who was supposed to protect me. Guide me. Be on my side. The brother who stole Grandma's Cartier watch from my jewelry box and handed it to his fiancée, who watched me swipe a blue debit card for $250,000 and never said a single word to stop me. You stole Grandma's watch. I say, my voice is flat, factual. You let me invest my life, savings into scammers without asking one question. You're 35 years old, Preston, an adult. I stand, lifting my bag with unhurried precision. The officers move toward him. Valerie, please. The $15,000 bill for tonight will be mailed to your address. I say calmly. The wine, the venue, the private service. All of it. I button my blazer. You can figure out your legal defense while you're at it. I pause at the vault door and glance back one final time. Good luck. You can't just leave me, he cries, his voice cracking into something animal. Watch me. I walk out of the vault. Behind me, I hear Preston arguing with the officers, Blythe pleading with the detective, Thaddeus demanding to speak to someone in charge. Their voices fade as I move through Orem's main dining room, past tables of oblivious diners laughing over dessert, past the host stand, where Julian gives me a small, knowing nod. The front door opens, and Chicago winter slams into me like a wall. The air is sharp enough to hurt, biting my lungs, but clean. The kind of cold that wakes you up, that reminds you you're alive. I stand on the sidewalk for a moment and breathe it in. No regret, no guilt, only relief. I didn't save my family the way they wanted, with money, with status, with the social climbing they've chased my entire life. I didn't sacrifice myself on the altar of their ambitions. I saved myself from them, from the expectation that I would always be less than, always the black sheep, always the one who gave and gave and gave until nothing remained. A black luxury sedan pulls up to the curb. Sleek, anonymous. The driver steps out and opens the door without a word. I hired this service 3 months ago, the same day I signed the FBI cooperation agreement, planned for this exact moment. I slide into the leather seat. The door closes with a solid, final thunk. Through the window, I watch Orem recede as we pull into traffic. The building that housed my company's flagship location. The vault that became a trap. The family that never really saw me. All of it shrinking in the rear-view mirror. The driver doesn't ask where I'm going. He already knows. My penthouse. My real home. The one I bought with money I earned. In a building I actually own. In a life I built without their approval or permission. City lights streak past, and I realize I'm smiling. Not the performance smile. Not the CEO smile. Not the dutiful daughter smile. A real one. I pull out my phone and scroll to a message from Agent Vance. Time stamped 6 minutes ago. All targets secured. Charges filed. You're clear. I delete it. Then I delete his contact information. That chapter is closed. The car glides through Chicago streets, leaving the chaos behind for good. Somewhere behind me, my family is unraveling. Somewhere ahead, there's a future I get to write myself. For the first time in 33 years, I'm not anyone's daughter, not anyone's sister, not anyone's disappointment. I'm Valerie Powell, and that is more than enough.